Hello, fairy finders and fairy seekers. Welcome back to the Faerie House Project. And we are still working on our cubby. And as we can see, our cubby dried. I still notice some squish here, which I find interesting. But even more interesting than that is the fact that I did this cubby kind of wrong here. Now I've got it so that we've got this that will go across on here, right? So if I put that on there, we have some gapping. You know, we can live with the gapping. But it's the inside. Excuse the pieces here. It is the inside that is the issue. Because... and let me kind of lower you down here so you can see what I'm seeing. All right, so in here, here's the floor, and right here is, I guess, the upper portion that I wanted to have to make it look cuddly cozy, but I kind of wanted it to be a part of this wall. And the side bits, these, okay, don't even show up. Look at this. Can't even see those. So what I should have done is put the pieces, put the pieces across here on the inside here, and then attached the cubby to the back. And worked with it like that, because then this part would be a part of this wall, and that's really what we want. So I was trying to think of how to do this. I can leave part of this, I think. Let me put that back on there again. I think probably what I'll end up doing is just taking, if I can, taking off the top here, because we want to have something for the little one inside to be looking up at. Okay, we need some kind of wall support here on the outside, I think. My first impression is to take off all of this, but it goes pretty deep in here. So I'm not sure if that's a wise move or not. And then the other one was, should I just start over? Which really would not like to do, but we're going to work with this time around and see what I can do with this. And if it does not work, I will create a different one off camera so that we don't go backwards too awfully far. Can I work with that way? Actually, I think as I look at it, I'm just going to leave it as is. And so we're going to work on getting this painted on the inside, and we're going to work on getting the floor done. So I think we'll do the painting first. I did have someone ask if I had planned on painting, and yes, I definitely plan on painting, because if you can see, this is not a very attractive color. It's kind of a yellowy, seeing the masking tape through the paper towels. So I don't know if that meant that we should probably have, I guess, thicker paper towels, but I didn't think that was needed. from just what I've seen from where the gnomes live. Now I kind of cheat here. I just kind of pour the paint that I'm going to use in here, and I chose, it's called Thicket. It's always so hard to get these cameras to focus. Anyhow, take my word for it. It's called Thicket, Thicket. So that's what I'm going to use for painting the inside. We're going to see what that looks like color-wise here. I didn't want too dark of a color, but I did want something that was, I suppose, something that you might see inside of a tree. And I've kind of been having some ideas here of not just making this a home, but making it a kind of a haunted house type home, which would go in keeping. My birthday's Halloween, so it would be kind of in keeping with everything that I've done through my life. So if you think that's a cool idea, let me know, because it'll totally change things. I mean, we'll still be doing the more curved like look and that kind of thing, but things are going to be a little bit different in the design, the style, and the things that get put in and created for a Halloween type haunted house for gnomes. So, or fairies, sorry. I don't know why I say gnomes, just it is fairies, not gnomes. Now, it's not going to matter if I do much of this part. Probably just cover just the bit here, because this will be up against the house on the outside. No one will actually see that, at least not this color, certainly. So, rather than make you watch me through this whole thing, I am going to come back to you when I have all of the inside painted. So, see you soon. All right, so I think that's pretty well covered, but I am discovering, I think, why some of the walls had a type of clay, or I'm going to say spackling, like what you fill the whole nail holes in a wall. Okay, I like the texture, I do, but the paper towel texture shows through, and that might not be so bad for this, but it's really hard to tell until you get some light in there, specific light, to see if that's going to be an issue or not. So we are going to go ahead with the floor here, and if the walls need a little bit more, I'll just have to be really careful with the floor, make sure things don't get onto the floor. So what we're going to use for the floor is an egg carton, a cardboard egg carton, and we're going to tear it in small pieces like this. And this will create what appears to be a stone floor. But this floor, of course, will be covered it'll be covered by like soft pillows, depending, and again, depending on what it is that we end up doing with this house. If you guys are all for turning it into a haunted house, things could change a little bit with this plan here. So I am going to squeeze glue on the inside of the cubby. Kind of hard for you to see that part. Sorry about that. And we're going to kind of rub it around in there so that it covers the entire floor. And then we are going to put these pieces of cardboard in there, kind of at random. And they like to stick to fingers. So if it seems to take a while for me to get my finger out of there, that's why. So we're just going to lay them in. Doesn't have to be any specific way. You just want to make sure that they're covering the floor and not overhanging this for the time being. We'll probably have to add some there because that is part of the windowsill on the inside of the house that we will want to have there. So we've got to be fairly quick about this. And also make sure if you're making something of your own and you're using this method that whatever bit that you're putting in doesn't have writing that shows after you've stuck it to the floor. Drop that one. Which I've had to turn a couple of these over since I started sticking them in because some of them had writing. And it has a great texture, it really does. And normally what I do with this when I'm done, if I want it to have kind of some shading, I will dry brush, and yes, this I've done before, this. And normally I dunk the pieces. I'm doing it a little bit different this time. Because we will be covering them over with a coating of glue mixed with water. So it's not too seriously thick, but holds these guys on quite well. It looks like I need that one that I dropped, and then that will be perfect, and it looks like it will be covered. So let me get the water and glue. Okay, so got a little bit of glue and added a little bit of water. I'm going to try and mix it here and see if we need any more water, or if we can just use it as is, which I think we'll probably be able to use it as is. Make sure it's good and mixed. And yeah, we did put those pieces down on glue. However, we want to make sure that they stay put, and that glue, the tacky glue, when you want it to dry really fast, it doesn't, and when you don't want it to dry really fast, it does. So as I was sticking this side on, it was starting to come up a little bit. And maybe I do need, like I said, the lighting is very difficult, so any extras here we're going to make sure we put in when we start covering. Make sure we have everything. Alright. And I do need to change brushes here, I think, because think I want a little stiffer one, because that still has blue in it. Even though I rinsed it out, it still has blue. All right, so let's bring this up. And as always, I certainly hope you can see, because when we're doing things like this, I have the monitor to the back of me, and I need to keep turning to see if I have you on camera or not, what I'm doing. All right, so I'm just taking this mixture and I am completely covering those pieces that I put in here. And all of this, of course, paint and all, will have to dry. I put this in front of a fan that is in my room. And once it's dry, pretty much anything can be done with it. In other words, if you want to use eyeshadow to kind of coat it, change its color, make it a little more floor looking, you can do that. Or you can use just kind of dry brush paint. That would be a thought. But if we're considering Halloween type look, I think I'll put a little bit back in the back there, because there's a couple pieces that are a couple parts that don't look quite as covered as I'd like them to be. Just small pieces. But anyway, if we're going to do this as a Halloween project, obviously it won't be done by Halloween, but have it be a haunted house for fairies, then I would like to probably put, you know, cobwebs in here and things like that, which, if you remember, when we originally started tearing this apart, it had natural cobwebs. Okay. So just take a close look and trying to see. I'm wondering if I should put a little bit more on that side right in there. It's hard to see where it is. I think I will just so that I know that there is something there. So hard to see if there is something. I don't think there's something already there. All right, so we will add this piece. That's better. And then of course we'll add a coating over top. And I am generous with my coatings. Probably don't need to use quite that much glue, but I am generous with my coatings. I think that actually was a different color. How is that? Ah, because see, we have orange writing. I think I have the orange writing up, which I do, so I'm going to reach in and peel that up and flip it over. Yep. That makes a difference. Now it's back to gray again, like it's supposed to be, instead of having an orange tint. All right, so we have, and I'm hoping that you can see what that looks like. It'll look a lot different when it's dry. You'll see more individual pieces to some degree, but it really puts a neat texture on a floor, something that you could try yourself just to see what it looks like. All right, so we have a paint job, we have a floor. Now I'm going to cut a piece for inside the house, inside the window. We'll set this aside for a few minutes and see what we can do for the shape. I think I will use, so I believe you can see in there with me, at least. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this up here inside, and I'm going to draw on the other side so that I have a marking and I know where the window is, okay? So I want that to be here. And let's see, how much of that do I need? We want to make sure that there's room to connect it to the wall. So we're going to cut some extra here. So there's my markings. I'm going to go a little bit above. And I'm going to go a little bit on each side. And keep in mind, the extra here will be covered with tin foil when we do the walls. It'll be covered with tin foil and you won't be seeing any of that. So while I am testing the waters here, put that up there like so. Now we want a little bit of a design on the bottom so it's not so plain. So perhaps we'll bring it kind of up and make it a little jaggy looking, kind of, sort of like that. Let's take a look and see what that looks like once we cut it out. And of course, the scissors will make it look a little more jaggy. And of course, if we don't like what we've done here, we can always take it down, and tin foil can change the shape of pretty much anything. All right, so we're gonna put that in there like that. Put this on the back just to see what it looks like here. Move my head so hopefully you can see. And I'm not sure if you can, so. All right, I am going to adhere that on there so that I can shine it in there a little bit more, but this is what we have. So I'll be probably flipping it over and putting this so I know where to put the glue. And I'm going to use the glue that I have here, right here, and put it around on the piece of cardboard here that I have already marked that side. And again, you can be liberal with the cardboard. Liberal with the glue. And then we're going to put it in here. I'm going to try and make sure I've got it as even as I can. and push it on. Again, this is tacky glue. Sometimes it sticks when you want it to, sometimes it does not. In other words, as quickly as I'd like. Probably could have used hot glue, but oh yeah, she's gonna have a hard time sticking. Might have to use hot glue. Okay, so that's definitely not working the way that I want it to. I'm going to bring you down a little bit again so that you can kind of see what's happening in there. All right, so if you can see back here above the window, and I'm going to plug in my hot glue here. Yeah, see, that came right off. There's no holding that on there. So apparently what we're finding out is cardboard does not want to stick to the wood that's in there. And I'm wondering here if I put this back up here, there's going to have to be a little piece here to even this out. Just a tiny bit, tiny piece, and then the floor extended probably to that edge right there. So while we're waiting for the hot glue to dry, perhaps that would be a good thing to do since we have the cardboard out here. And if I do this, and I have, oops, and I have the cardboard right there is where the cardboard would be, and all I'm doing is lining it up, and then I'm going to put a line, try to put a line on the underside of that piece of cardboard. So it's the right length. Okay, let's see if that worked. Ha! We have a line. So this is the window. Definitely mark that so we know, and we cut off the correct side. So we're going to cut this, and I'm just going to give it just a little extra here to be on the safe side. And we'll put it up there and remeasure. Yeah, that's pretty close. So we can glue that on there when we do glue this on. And wondering if I should cover it with masking tape first. I'm thinking maybe that might be a good idea, because paper towel does not stick very well, although if I put tin foil on top of this to make kind of lumpiness on the walls, cave-like, then I'll be putting masking tape over top of that anyway. So we're just going to do this with our hot glue gun. Do my best not to burn myself this time, which I do tend to do quite often with a hot glue gun. Not just the hot from the tin foil, but I do often do that. So I'm going to go in there and I'm going to stick that up where I believe it needs to go. Try and get it to cool. Put this on the back here because I want to see. Oh, I'm stringing. All right, so that's what that will look like. What we can see of it anyway. So I like that. I hope you were able to see. I'll shine a flashlight in here or something here in just a sec. So that maybe, I do have a lamp sitting here, but it's so bright when it shines in, almost too bright. All right, so let us, now see, there's a reason that I checked to see which, or marked it, because easily could have lost the one that I was supposed to use, right? So we're going to turn that around just a little. Put this up again to the window on the inside, and then tuck this little piece onto the windowsill in the place that it's supposed to be. And that will get a bit of the flooring as well once it dries. Well, we'll put flooring on top of that. So let us see if I can get a good picture of this for you. I'm going to shine this light in there and hope that it doesn't blind you, which, hello, oh, there we go. All right, so now you can see what we put over top of the window. And if I add this to the back, right now, from your standpoint, it just looks like a blue wall. And pretty much that's what it will look like, but I'm hoping you can see that it now has the floor, and it fits in a certain way on the back there. So we'll put this in here so you can actually see the floor. And I see that there's probably some wall touch-up I could do here. Like I said, the paper towel texture is showing and is kind of, and it looks like there's a few orange floor parts. Okay, so obviously I need a better lighting system here so that I can see as well. But we are going to stop at this point, and I think we've covered pretty much this particular cubby. Once I have completed the repainting and the floor, fixing the floor there, we will probably wait to adhere this onto the house until we have more of the walls and whatever it is that we're going to do here. I'm waiting to see what you would like for this fairy project. If you would like it to be a haunted house, please let me know, because that'll make all the difference in how I complete or do other parts of this fairy house. So thank you for watching, and it's good to see the snafus that can take place here, and I will try to have a better lighting system for you the next time that we get together so that we can all see what we're doing. So until next time, thank you so much for joining. Take care.